I'll get it right this time. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. So, Keir the traitor Starmer, he has said that he's putting us all, and must do all our bit, to be on war footing with Russia. He says it like we're all part of some bloody team. Well, I wonder what team that is, Keir the traitor Starmer. Because I'll tell you one thing, the indigenous English people aren't on your fucking side. None of us want to get involved in a war with Russia. I don't think you'll find one patriot here in the United Kingdom who'd be willing to fight your war, Starmer. Hell, already there are people like Anglo-Saxon bloke who are categorically saying they will not fight for you. Hell, I think a lot of us would rather turn our weapons on you, quite frankly. You're the single most hated man in this country right now. Even more so than Tony the War Criminal Blair, or the likes of Sadiq Khan. What fucking drugs were you doing that made you think that the British people are going to fight your war? It must be some industrial grade shit, and I want some. I want a chance to be able to be as high as a kite. Who said I couldn't get off the ground? Shut up, you. But I want to know what drugs you've been doing. Hell, if you were to put this question to almost every person in the United Kingdom, I would be very surprised if you had anything other than lefty NPCs on your side. And bear in mind, Russia is no namby-pamby army. Russia is quite renowned for their Spetsnaz. Russia is quite well known for its military. Do you honestly think the soy boys and the soy girls of Britain are going to be able to stand a chance against them? They've got a better chance of beating me in an eating contest. Shush you. But in all seriousness, what in God's name makes you think you're going to have anybody on your side, quite frankly? But you know what they say? A leader leads on the front lines. A leader leads his army with inspiration, and not the sound of our two-tier policing society. They lead from the front. They don't get their stormtroopers to do it for them. So I tell you what, Keir the traitor Starmer, why don't you go up to the front lines? Why don't you prove yourself in battle? Why don't you prove yourself to be a leader instead of a coward, a traitor, and a sectarianist bastard? Because the way I see it, Keir the traitor Starmer, I don't think I can find a single bollock in you. In fact, I daren't call you a man. I daren't call you it at all, because it would be an offence to all those English patriots, the real men who bust their balls doing their bit for the country, whether it's out on the front lines or back here at home. And if you think about bringing conscription back, good luck with that shit, because I can think of quite a few people who would rather go to prison than serve under your army, Keir the traitor Starmer. I'll tell you what you might do, though, to curry the favour with the British people. Why don't you send all those illegals out there? As I've said before, I think these illegal immigrants are quite good with a machete. Some of these guys have had military training, so they'd be good with guns and bombs. So why not send the illegals over to Russia? I mean, quite frankly, you're killing 3 birds with 1 stone at this point. And I'd like to check that rock for Aussie blood. Anyway, you'd be able to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. I'll get there in the end. I mean, at the end of the day, you send the illegals over. 1, you're deporting the people that have no legal or human right to be here. 2, you're making sure that there is an army that can fight Russia that isn't our indigenous population. And 3, you can actually save us a fucking boatload of money. Pun intended. Because these people that usually come from their third world shitholes are intolerant of us anyway. Oh, there again. These people are intolerant of us anyway. So, if they don't like our country, let's go and send them over to Ukraine. Have them fund the war effort. I'm sure with you leading them, Keir the traitor Starmer, right at the front lines, God, you'd be fucking unstoppable. Oh, but that's right. You don't want to send those illegals over, do you? You want to send British patriots over, so you can get rid of this supposed mythical far right you keep going on about. And you don't dare go yourself, because you know full well it would put you in real danger. I'm putting myself in real danger the whole time. I'm putting myself in danger in the context of any one of these people walking down the streets could easily come along with a knife and stab me for my views. I'm talking I risk being sent to prison and then having Mohammed and his gang of 10 have me in the fucking jails. I could quite easily have someone with a vendetta against me come along with a car and run me over. Likewise, Tommy Robinson is no stranger to that shit. He's been attacked and he has been threatened by the religion of peace every single day. All because he dares to criticise the intolerant religion of Islam that keeps portraying itself as the religion of peace, when we all know there's about as much peace in the religion of peace as the streets of Baghdad. Hoodlum is being really rowdy today. Fuck off, you. Anyway, these people are not peaceful. I've already made it clear time and time again. Islam is not here to integrate. It's here to subjugate and dominate. But Keir the traitor Starmer doesn't want to send those illegal immigrants that come by boat, thousands by the day, over to Russia. Of course he doesn't. Because those are the people that he said he would do everything in his power to protect. Whereas old Whitey is shit out of luck. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me. It doesn't suit the narrative. So instead of Keir the traitor Starmer growing a pair of bollocks and actually doing what's right for the country, he will probably be sitting in his office, or maybe even in the houses of treachery, I mean Parliament. Or maybe I was right first time. And he will be sitting there, giving out his orders, tell all the British people, all the far right, to go and sign up for the army and go fight his wars that have nothing to fucking do with us. Well, as I said, this is one person that is not going to serve you. I'd sooner serve you a middle finger on toast than serve in your fucking army. Middle finger on toast, I'm sorry. It was the first thing that came to mind, okay? Anyway, the truth is, I'm not serving in your bloody army, quite frankly. I would sooner put a gun in my mouth and blow my head off than serve in your treacherous army, Starmer. And a lot of British people would probably want to do the same. In fact, right now, you're doing this at the worst possible time. You have recently locked up Tommy Robinson for 7 months in solitary confinement with no breaks, which is against Article 3 of the Human Rights Act, torture. You decided to ignore this man as a human rights lawyer, I might add. You decided he was perfectly okay living there. You decided it was okay that Shabana Mahmood and Jess Phillips and Angela Rayner, or again, maybe I was right first time, decided it was perfectly okay that this person, Tommy Robinson, is going to sit there in solitary confinement and suffer for 7 months. Meanwhile, Axel Radaku Banana somehow had access to boiling hot water and was able to attack a prison guard. Speaking of prison guards, there was also that situation in, I believe it was Long Larton, HMP Long Larton, where apparently another guard ended up getting stabbed. The next stop is Diamond Road. Tannoy Tina at it again. But yeah, the guard ended up getting attacked at Long Larton, stabbed. Now I accept that you can't really help knives, as prisoners will basically fashion knives out of just about anything, shivs if you will. So understandably, they're kind of powerless against that shit. Unlike what happened with the boiling water incident in HMP Woodhill. But it proves a point, doesn't it, that these officers are facing so much abuse every single day, literally having shit and piss thrown at them every single day by these prisoners, predominantly Islamic ones. Because as we know, Islam runs a lot of these prisons. They are basically jihadi training camps, which again, the mainstream media are not going to want to tell you. But I tell you what, you could send some of them off to Russia as well. The next stop is my fist in your bloody speaker. Anyway, you could literally get rid of all of these people that have committed crimes in the United Kingdom, that are jihadists, that are effectively intolerant of us anywhere, and there's no hope of rehabilitating them. You could take out the trash right now. You'd save us a whole boatload of money. Just like that. And again, pun intended. But we know Keir the traitor Starmer won't do that, because this man is about as reliable as a rusty spoon. Because here's the thing, there is a far more practical way of dealing with this war issue. I mean, you can sit there and think I'm an asshole for calling you Keir the traitor Starmer, but believe it or not, there is some help and some constructive criticism in all of this ranting that I'm doing. Trust me, You would get a lot of public favour if you sent the illegal immigrants and our foreign national criminals in jails right now. If you sent them over to Russia, as I said, you'd be killing 3 birds with 1 stone. In fact, it'd actually be 4 in this case, because you'd be making room in the prisons for real criminals. You'd be saving us money because people wouldn't be clogging up the prisons as much for a time, and of course the hotels. You'd be protecting our nation because then we wouldn't have all these dangerous criminals in our own place. And of course, most importantly, you're actually doing something about the illegals that are in the country that have no right to be here. Like, you would be doing so much for the British people if you just sent all of our foreign national criminals and all of the illegal immigrants that are coming over the French Channel every day. You know, the channel that the French seem to be conveniently laughing at us the whole time, while they do nothing to stop the boats. I mean, I only see this as an absolute win. As I said, save money because we're not housing these guys in our prisons and hotels. Sending back the illegals, which means less of a strain on our economy. You're also sending out an army that can fight these people, because a lot of these people do have military training, believe it or not, very good with a blade and what have you, so even if they don't get a gun, they might serve some purpose as kind of like kamikaze troops. And most importantly, you'd be looking after your own people by putting their security first. Don't think I'm just this insensitive asshole. Believe you me, if I'm giving you advice, it means that I want you to take it and actually do something good for this country for once in your fucking life, Starmer. And the only people who will disagree with this plan are the left-wing NPCs who hold their little placards of refugees welcome here, when they wouldn't take them into their own damn homes if they're in our country. They are the sorts of people who preach one message. They preach their message of be kind and be tolerant and DEI and refugees welcome, but the first given opportunity, they cower like dogs. So as far as these illegals is concerned, the moral of this story is, why send our own people that, number 1, they don't trust you, number 2, they hate your guts, and 3, they wouldn't fight for you at any God-given opportunity? Why send our own people when you can easily send the people that have no legal or human right to be here over to fight in Russia? As I said, you'd be killing so many birds with 1 stone, I wouldn't be surprised if it would be called a grenade launcher at this point. That's the thing, a lot of these other channels, they wouldn't be able to give you these kinds of bits of advice that would genuinely help the country. Like, I don't give this advice out to just about anyone. I primarily give it out to monumental fuck-ups like you, Starmer. Sorry, Keir the traitor, Starmer. Thank you. If I was the Prime Minister, that's how I'd be dealing with the problem. In fact, I wouldn't just be dealing with the problem, I'd be dealing with multiple problems. That's the thing. There are far better ways than asking a bunch of people who absolutely hate your guts to fight in a war that has nothing to do with them. Like I say, if you want to send anybody, send the people that have no legal or human right to be here over. Because at the end of the day, they're just going to get sent back to whatever third world shithole they came from in the first place. So why don't we turn that liability into an asset? Why don't we turn that hindrance into a benefit? Of course, I suspect a lot of these NPCs would probably decline this, but force them to. Tell them it's that, or they could go back to whatever shithole they came from. And don't even get me started on this fucking 3% defence budget or what have you. Don't even get me started. We know he doesn't serve the army. There's only one man that Keir the traitor Starmer serves, and that's himself. Keir the traitor Starmer would run over his own grandmother or his grandfather if it got him some more political points. The only thing I'd trust Keir the traitor Starmer to do is stab me in the back, which is why you will never see him serve at the front lines. It's why you'll never see him actually do anything beneficial to the country. The only thing he's done that's of benefit is he's made it absolutely certain that the Labour Party are never going to get into power ever again. Well, not unless they rebrand themselves and come up as some other party. Like, say what you will about the Conservatives, who have been in power for the longest time, but the damage they've done completely pales in comparison to what Keir the traitor Starmer and the Labour Party have done when they've been in power. If you think the British people are going to serve in your fucking war, Starmer, you've got another thing coming. Sorry, don't know why that went out like that. Oh, Jesus. Nearly saw a crash. Anyway, I think you've got a better chance of seeing me win the next decathlon than actually seeing Patriots serve you, Starmer. Is it a coincidence I see a fucking Virgin Media van that says broadband that'll blow the bloody doors off? Terrible. Anyway, let's find out what mail we've got. Oh dear, you know it's usually bad news, so it's one of these fucking ones. Looks like it's time for another one of these TV license letters. Because the BBC has their own private fucking army, as we all know. It's one of the usual ones again. Will you be in on the 11th of June? I've been in all this fucking time. I come home every single day. I get home usually by 5 o'clock bare minimum. So I'm always in at that kind of time. I have been waiting perhaps for a fucking year for you cunts to come in, and yet you never see me show up. So why are you telling me another date? Because right now, your threats are just like, you're barking like a little puppy. Or bark, no bite. Just like the BBC. But anyway, as there's no record of a licence at your address, you should expect a visit from an enforcement officer. It may be on the 11th of June or another day. Oh, so you can't even confirm a fucking date. Oh, there we go. Shows how reliable you lot are. You could be prosecuted. No, I won't. If you are caught watching, recording or downloading TV programmes illegally, which I don't, on live TV or BBC iPlayer. Again, I don't watch live and I don't watch iPlayer. You may have to pay a fine of up to £1,000 plus any legal costs and or compensation. That's not going to fucking happen. And usually what happens in this case is they usually expect you to pay like 200, 300 quid at most. So barely more than the fucking TV licence itself. Not that I'm encouraging anybody to break the law. Our officers visit an address every 10 seconds. We visit around 5,000 addresses a day. Day, evening, even weekends. And if no one answers, they can come back. I've been waiting for you to come. And again, you've not shown up. Because there is nothing that would fucking please me more than to open the door and give you the door slamming face treatment. Because that's what you fucking deserve. Stop a visit before it's too late. Again, still waiting. Buy a TV licence at tvl.co.uk/pay with payments starting from £6.50 a week. No thank you. I'd rather save that £6.50 for my fucking bus fares. Or I could even use it to buy a meal for the day. Food and water, sustenance. Rather than have to pay your paedophile network a racketeering cost. So fuck you, BBC and Capita. Or move an existing licence to your current address at tvl.co.uk/moving. Well, I don't have one, so I don't need to, and I never will need one. Or tell us why you don't need one. I don't have to tell you a fucking thing. I don't have to tell you anything. That's the beauty of it. I don't have to go on your website. And in fact, if anything, if you go on their website and sign all the usual shit and put in your details, usually it guarantees a knock on the door. So, frankly, I'm not interested in doing that shit. I made that mistake once, and once only. Because that's the thing with me. When I make a mistake, I own up to it, and I make a mistake once, and only once. But I'm not going to be paying you a fucking thing. So, you can stop trying to threaten me with your letters asking for payment, because these things have as much use as a chocolate ashtray on a fucking motorbike, quite frankly. Your paper isn't even worth the ink you used to write it. Back to the main point, though. Keir the traitor Starmer needs to understand that as long as I've got a hole in my arse, and it's a pretty big arse, let me tell you, and I'm not just saying that, I am not going to see any patriots who are willing to serve you in your fucking army, Keir the traitor Starmer. They'll never serve you. I certainly won't serve you. You got two hopes of that shit. No Hope and Bob Hope. And I think Bob Hope's gone. Or at least 1 foot in the grave. That's the way to look at it. Why should we serve you? Why the fuck should we serve a man who has no interest in serving his own people and is in fact at the gate raising the portcullis to let all the foreign invaders in? Why would we want to follow you? We might follow you if we're following your coffin into a funeral. We might be willing to follow you if it involves you having to do the walk of shame, Cersei style from the Game of Thrones. We might follow you if it involves you going into the dock and then being charged and found wanting for crimes of treason and then hung from the gallows. But there is no way in hell that the British people are going to follow you into a war that has nothing to do with us. I am not sitting here giving my praises to Vladimir Putin, though I did put a tweet out this morning and I said, on behalf of the United Kingdom, we are sorry for what Keir the traitor Starmer is doing, trying to put us on war footing. Because at the end of the day, we don't condone this shit. We don't want to fight this war. This war has nothing to do with us. And at the end of the day, this is just another part of the globalist bastards, the fascists in power. This is them trying to gain more power by invading Russia, taking resources, and effectively bringing Ukraine into the NATO fold, and basically make it so that, well, they gain more power. They inflate the money bubble. They keep the oligarchy going. They effectively make sure that nobody threatens their little safe space. Well, here's the truth. Eventually, the people are going to truly decide they've had enough. You literally picked the worst time to try and ask people to join a fucking war, Starmer. You've picked it right when this country is on the verge of a violent revolution. And as I've said before, and I've always said without fail, I don't particularly want this country to go into a violent revolution. I don't want civil war to break out. But the cold bitter truth is, that is where we are right now. We are on the verge of civil war, where at this point, one more wrong move could see this country go up in flames. Just like that. But Keir the traitor Starmer is more interested in gathering up the far right and shipping them off to Ukraine to fight Russia. He is literally sitting there with the literal definition of poke the Russian bear with a stick. He is literally the one poking the bear right now. He can't be surprised at this point if Vladimir Putin decides to push the red button and all of a sudden a nuke gets sent our way. This is how dangerous Starmer is. He is literally willing to say, fuck my own people. He is willing to destroy this country for his insane power trip. And people wonder why the United Kingdom is like a volcano about to explode. If Putin launches enough nukes over here at Britain, our free trial of life is going to end, quite frankly. Now, I'm no fan of Putin. I'm no fan of Russia. I am a fan of the tiffin I made, though. Anyway, I'm no fan of either of those. But you know what I am a fan of? Not starting wars. Let me tell you something, Keir the traitor Starmer. And it's ironic because our king is currently named Charles. Do you know what happened with Charles I when he went out and he took the taxpayers' money and pissed it up the wall in wars that nobody wanted and had nothing to do with them? He ultimately ended up getting executed, beheaded, shing, head gone, goodbye. Do you want to follow down that same route? Because I think the people will want your head on a spike if you keep this up. And do you honestly think the 30,000, let's say for the sakes of argument, all the army would serve you? Do you honestly think the 30,000 armed army forces are going to be able to stop hundreds of thousands of people reclaiming the country? Do you honestly think the hundreds of thousands the 100 or 1,000 or so police officers are going to stop them. And bear in mind, this is before we even consider the fact, I think the vast majority of the army would turn their back on you, Starmer. The vast majority of our army probably wouldn't dare turn their guns on their own people. Do you honestly think that you're going to be able to stop them overthrowing you? Because that's the truth of it. The odds are not in your favour. When Boris was in power, over 50% of the army said they would side with the people over Boris Johnson if there was a coup. And that was with him in power. And I definitely argue he's a lot more fucking popular than you, Starmer. Keir the traitor, Starmer. Sorry. I think you'd get about 20% of them, if you're lucky. I think it's more along the lines of 5 to 10%, in my humble opinion. But that's subjective stuff and speculation. What I can say for a fact, though, is there certainly wouldn't be enough army or police to be able to combat the mass revolution that would take place throughout the entire country. Good luck with that shit. And that's bearing in mind, I haven't even factored what weapons people have. Some of these people may have nothing. Some of these people might have guns. Some of these people may have weapons that they haven't disclosed. Just like Islam has loads of weapons that they'd rather not disclose, including that one time when Al-Muhajirun ended up having a raid happen to them, and they ended up having a sniper rifle found with tracer rounds. Al-Muhajirun, proscribed terrorist group, for anybody that doesn't know. The same terrorist group that held the two brothers that went out and killed Lee Rigby. The one that was being directed by what's-his-face? That's the trouble when you can't think of the name in 0.75 seconds. Oh, what's the fucker who went in? Anjem Chowdhury, that's it. The guy who was telling people to claim jihadi seekers allowance and all that shit. Like I said, if these jihadists want a bit of Alan's snack bar in their life, send them over to Russia. Let's see how they do there. And if they still feel a little defiant, if there's any of them left, if they still feel defiant, I'm sure the Russian army would easily be able to take out the trash, quite frankly. Like I said, you'd be killing multiple birds with one stone. Save our economy, deport the dangerous enemies, protect our borders, and save money. How many people do you know that will not mince a motherfucking thing, that is not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing, that says it exactly how it is, and does his best not to bullshit you? How many of these types of people are going to give you free advice? Not many. I could probably count them maybe on one hand. Probably not even 5. But I'm giving you that advice. I'm telling you right now, you would curry so much favour with the people if you did that. Your reputation would shoot up, just like that, because you'd be stopping the illegals from having the incentive to come over here. You'd be stopping these jihadists from waging war against us. You would be ensuring that Islam is reminded that this is a Christian country, not a Muslim country. You would be ensuring the safety of the people that you should be protecting in the fucking first place. And the substantial amount of money from not housing these people in hotels, not housing them in prisons, not having to get translators for them, you would save so much money, you could invest that back into the NHS, or infrastructure, or schools, or anything. The bottom line is, we the British people want no part of your fucking war. If you want people, go and send the illegals over there. Send the illegals, send the jihadists, send the foreign criminals. Because we want no part of this. We do not condone this war, quite frankly. Like I do not condone a violent revolution or civil war. We don't want that shit. The choice is yours, Starmer. But make no mistake, you send the wrong people, and those people might turn their guns on you.